So this is great, guys. Watch Bob Knodel get owned, totally owned, by his own panel member. So this is a video about a phenomenon that I've noticed. There seems to be this, you know how there's an honour among thieves sort of code of conduct. There appears to be an honour among Conspirtard's code of conduct. I don't know if you've noticed that. This is taken from a fairly recent globebusters show. On the panel we have John Christopoulos, also known as the Morgile, former inmate and fugitive, and he's telling us, about his knowledge about what Polaris does.
Yeah, never has Polaris even gone through a smidgen of this so-called precession as it should, according to the spinning ball Earth. Not a single degree, ever.
And also on the panel we have Bob, not a commercial pilot, Noodle Doodle.
That's right. And why would the Egyptians, if they're doing things, hieroglyphically 2,000 years ago, and any other culture for that matter, seems to show Polaris in precisely the same spot that it is in the sky.
The Earth is supposedly wobbling one wobble every 26,000 years. And so it goes through about a degree every 72 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And yet we've never recorded
but of course,
Well, we also have Jism here introducing Iru Landucci, who's actually going to present some evidence. All these other guys just, make pronouncements. They don't present any evidence. But Iru actually, he presents some evidence, which is quite interesting.
What did Iru say that you said that Gleason talked about the movement of Polaris?
Yes, in his book from the famous book, it's the Bible from Heaven, and the rest is the Earth a Globe. Like Gleason, it was the version of 1890.
Just here we've heard Iru being very happy with this guy's credentials. He's happy that this guy is all kosher.
1890. And he points in the chapter or the page 32, Polaris and the Great Bear, and he talks about that the Polaris star is not the true north, and when he made the observation, he tested, or he looks at Polaris, and Polaris was 1 degree with 22 minutes 24 seconds off of the actual true north by his observations. If you go to a stellarium and you jump to the actual location of Gleason at that particular moment in time, this was the actual location of Polaris when he makes the observation, which is 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes, which means 1 degree, and 24 minutes. When he took observations in that particular year to Polaris from his location in Buffalo, he detected that Polaris was 1 degree and 24 seconds off into the center, or from the center of the celestial, true north pole, or true north center. So if you go to a stellarium and you rewind to that particular time, it's actually matched with that observation. Not exactly in the 1890s, but in the 1871. So that is why I said before, I don't know if Gleason's put an observation made 20 years ago from his book, which could be possible, or there was some offset, whatever is the case. So when you go to Polaris and start updating the years to our days, now Polaris is more close to that center in the true North Pole, which is almost 40 minutes, 20 minutes here, 40 minutes.
So just a reminder that Iru has just sat there on the panel minutes ago and listened to them say this.
Yeah, never has Polaris even gone through a smidgen of this so-called precession as it should, according to the spinning ball Earth.
If we put our telescopes on Polaris, I mean, it really doesn't move at all. I mean,
when you're going back in time, you can see the Polaris move a little bit to the left, to the east in this case, until that was the date of Gleason books. This is the date of when Gleason published his book. And then if you go back a little more time, 20 years to be precisely, you have that 1 degree and 24 seconds off of the center. That is what he said in his book, which is...
And this data completely contradicts everything that's been said up to this point by, Bob Knodel and the Morgile. But, Iru has essentially zero integrity, because while Bob Knodel and the Morgile were making these pronouncements, he knew they were wrong. He had this data from a source that he trusts and had confirmed it, and he knew that they were lying, but he just sits there silent under the code of honor, the Conspirtard code of honor.
This is a classic example of affirming the numpty.
Iru, you've got no integrity. You should be embarrassed for yourself. I mean, you're obviously pretty clever. You actually go out and collect evidence. I think you are interested in the truth. But how can you sit there and let Bob Knodel and that jailbird, that moron, drug-addled moron, just completely contradict what you know to be a fact? Embarrassing. Totally embarrassing.
This is not a proof of a spinning Earth. This is just a proof of this offset in the sky.
What in the great googly moogly are you talking about, dude?
Iru has sat there quietly listening to what he knows is absolute bullshit from the Morgile and from Bob Doodle. And then he's piped up and mentioned, well, actually, he doesn't actually explicitly confront them. He just pops his head above the parapet, so good on him, and says, well, this observation does show that Polaris has moved over the last few hundred years. And but then right at the end, I think he feels, I might have overstepped my mark here with the great Bob Doodle on the panel.
This is not a proof of a spinning Earth.
And he makes some remark about how this doesn't prove the globe though, and then the rest of the panelists just proceed to pretend like they haven't been totally contradicted by a fellow panel member who presents actual evidence from a source that the panel members actually trust.
This is just a proof of this offset in the sky. He didn't mention that the Earth is rotating or moving, okay?
Yeah.
Just that.
They've never been able to even show us how they know that the Earth is rotating, other than, thanks, Bob.
Turned on that gyroscope, we found that we were picking up a drift, a 15-degree-per-hour drift.
I mean, how do you explain that? You don't. What you do is you
crazy.
make up a bunch of crap and you lie about it. Now, when I talk about things, I usually present some evidence that backs up what I'm saying. When we model that incoherent dielectric acceleration in between two Gaussian surfaces and put a static voltage on it, we can get it to emulate gravity exactly. And beyond that, if we reverse the polarity on it, we can cause things to go the other direction.
Fucking hell, Bob, you fucking numpty. Well, if your model of that, when you change something, makes it reverse, tells me that you haven't actually modeled gravity, have you? Because gravity only goes one way. That should have been a sign to you that your fucking model is fucking stupid, that your idea is stupid, because if you exactly model gravity, then changing something and making gravity go the other direction wouldn't happen now, would it?
Astrology is a far, far better science than astronomy. Astronomy isn't even a science code. So yet devices like the Antikythera device, which is well over 2,000 years old, shows Polaris to be exactly where it is today. How do you explain that, Faulkner?
Don't know how Faulkner explains that, but the way I explain that, Bob, is you're a lying sack of shit. because this is the Antikythera device. It's a device that's been pulled out of the bottom of the ocean. It doesn't point at anything. How has this device got any precision measurements of the location of Polaris?
This is a classic example of affirming the numpty.